7. Number 7, I am involved in my teenager's life without being overly intrusive. Number 8, I respect my teenager's need for privacy and independence. Number 9, I communicate my values and beliefs to my teenager in a respectful manner. Number 10, I adapt my parenting approach as my teenager grows and their needs changes. Number 11, I seek to understand my teenager's perspective even when we disagree. Number 12, I maintain a calm and positive demeanor when discussing difficult topics with my teenager. Again, remember, you're scoring between 1 to 5. Strongly disagree, disagree, agree, like that, like that. So number 13, we have, I use mistakes and failures as opportunities for learning rather than punishment. Okay, Miracle is in now. I'm just going to give it back to him.
All right. I apologize. So sorry. Network threw me off. But I'm back now. So sorry about that. Yeah. So let's get right into it. So please, because I was thrown out, I can't gain access to the chats anymore. So if you can please help me with your scores again. Yeah, 1 to 4 actually. If you can just list your scores again in the chat box, I would be grateful. Yeah, so please list what your scores are in the chat box. Yes, so now this is your report card. So if you scored between 70 and 100, that is congruent parenting. So it means 70 and 100 means that you are currently doing a great job. So you exhibit a high level of understanding, empathy, and effective communication with your teenager. Your parenting style is well aligned with the developmental needs of your teen, fostering a supportive and trusting relationship. If you score between 50 and 69, that is conforming parenting. Your parenting approach is generally positive, though there might be areas where you can improve. Understanding communication to better meet your teenager's needs. It is called between 30 and 49. That is conflicted parenting. So there are significant challenges in your approach to parenting your teenager. Enhancing empathy, communication, understanding can help improve your relationship. And then lastly, if you score between 1 and 29, there is dissociated parenting. So your current approach may be considerably out of sync with your teenager's needs. Focusing on building empathy, trust, and effective communication skills is crucial for strengthening your relationship. And there's something I must say, because sometimes, and it happens with not just assessment, every other or any other assessment, right? You can sometimes score high in an assessment, but and it's possible that there are still problem areas, with that area of your life. So somebody, for instance, can score 70, or can score 80 or 70 here, but the answers to some of the questions in the assessment can actually show that there are 1 or 2 challenges with the way they parent. Let me give an example. So if, say, we go back to this assessment in this questionnaire here, and then let's say the person answers something like, I am so for the question of I'm very up to date on the digital reality and platforms they interact with, and the person scores strongly disagree, and maybe score somewhere else. Maybe it's on question 17. I prioritize spending quality time with my teenagers, and we discussed their sexual realities. And the person scored disagree. Now, even though the person overall scores highly on the assessment, because they score disagree on these two areas, it may actually be something they need to address, right? So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so somebody has graciously told us what level she's at right now, confirming parenting. Right, beautiful. So thank you. So it is conforming, not confirming. Conforming parenting. Yeah. So beautiful. So what is your greatest teen parenting challenge? Can you tell me in the chat box, what is your greatest teen parenting challenge? I would like to see a few responses in the chat box. What is the greatest challenge of parenting a teen? Is it the digital awareness? Is it their sexuality? Is it their curiosity? Is it their stubbornness or non-conformist nature, personality? What exactly is it? Okay, I would like to read a few in the chat box. Somebody said talking about sexuality. Hey, digital reality, getting them to obey rules. Digital reality, non-conformity, privacy or secrecy. What do you mean by privacy or secrecy? Do you want to throw more light, Adeleke, on what you mean by privacy and secrecy? Their stubbornness and passive aggressive behavior. Digital reality, stubbornness and laziness, telling of lies, even the smallest things she would lie. Conflict of interest, non-conformity, the sexuality aspect. Yeah, mind digital reality, sexuality, and having mind of their own. They keep secret and not allowing you into their world, not obeying basic instructions and values. Laziness, and they feel they are smarter. Okay, let me read like 5 more, and then we'll get right into it. Stubbornness and screen time. Okay, 4 more. I'll read 4 more. 4 more. Secret, stubbornness, not listening, talking back, body language, sexuality and social media awareness, not obeying basic rules, digital reality and stubbornness, feels they know it all, laziness, screen time. They always think they are smarter, stubbornness, not listening, and addiction to phone, screen time, and secrets. Okay, so it looks like if we put this into clusters, you realize that a lot of the issues are actually similar to each other. So I have, if the main things I see here are sexuality, talking about sexuality, number 1. Number 2 is non-conformist nature. Number 3 is digital awareness and digital issue. Number 4 is secrecy and privacy, not letting you into their world. And maybe number 5 would be screen time and phone addiction. So these are the issues that I can deduce from the things that we have talked about. So everything falls under this thing. So also talking back or being rude is under being, non-conformist. So it's all part of it. Okay, so let's see a few things that we can address. So strategy engages and wins where emotions grow. Strategy engages and wins where emotions grow. Strategy would always win. Strategy talks about why, or how rather. Strategy talks about how. Because Solomon Jesse even said that the ways of a foolish man wearies him because he doesn't know how to get to the city. So knowing how, strategy would always trump emotion. It's not about how you're feeling. It's about the strategy that you've decided to deploy. So let's talk about the strategy equation. So we have the OE plus the IC, which is equal to the outcome, right? So outcome is what do you want? What do you want? So right now, write down what kind of teenager do you want to produce? Write it down. You can tell us in the chat box. You can write down in your notes, whichever one. What kind of teenager do you want to produce? What kind of teenager do you want to produce? Do you want to train? Do you want to build? So I'd like to see maybe a few in the chat box if you don't mind. What kind of teenager do you want to produce? What outcome do you want for your teenagers? What is the outcome you want for your teenagers? God-fearing, royalty. Okay. Let's see some more. God-fearing and self-confident ones. Excellent teenagers in all dimensions. One who seeks after God and his ways. A total teenager, built, balanced. A total teenager, a lover of God, purpose-driven, awesome, empathetic and assertive, independent critical thinker, obedient and visionary, a godly teenager and one who is well-mannered, godly speed, a teenager and a godly teenager, I've said already, confident, focused, full of integrity. Beautiful. Now that is your outcome, and of course, we all want beautiful things, but wanting that is not enough. That is a starting point, right? Because not a lot of people know what they want. So it is good that you know what you want, and you need to define it clearly to say, what outcome do I want? Because I tell people that clarity is your greatest asset in the journey of success, because clarity bets speed, right? So you need to be clear about what you want. You need to be clear about where you're going. You need to be clear about who you want your teenagers to be. So I see royalty, I see God-fearing and all of that, right? But then it must now move beyond what you want to now deploying the right strategy to achieving what you want. Because many times when it comes to the outcomes, for instance, I was speaking somewhere earlier today and I was telling them that in life, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to have good teenagers, for instance. But why is it that not everybody ends up having good teenagers? Why is it that not everybody ends up training good children? Why? The why is mostly because there are two sets of people when it comes to pursuing outcomes. There are people who are interested in those outcomes, and then there are people who are committed to those outcomes. There are people who are interested in those outcomes. There are people who are committed to those outcomes. So while everybody is interested in those outcomes, not everybody is committed to achieving those outcomes. It is the people who are committed to achieving those outcomes that actually get to achieve those outcomes. It's just like if you ask an average, just like I've asked everybody here now, I see a lot of God-fearing. If you ask an average lady, what kind of man do you want to get married to? Mostly they will say, I want to get married to a God-fearing man. God-fearing man. That's what. So even the one who is not God-fearing will say they want to get married to a God-fearing man. But then when you now end up seeing the person they get married to, the person they end up in a relationship with, even if God is fearing the person, right? That's because they're just interested in having a God-fearing man. So you cannot be interested in having a God-fearing child. You can be interested in having a child of integrity. You can be interested in having all of those things you said. But are you committed to making sure those outcomes are actually achieved? Because to achieve the outcome, you need what is then called the operating environment plus the internal capacity. It is the operating environment and the internal capacity that determines or that ultimately determine your outcome, right? So your operating environment is not about the idea. It is about current reality and our creative response. So where is your child right now? What environment is your child? Because your child is like a seed. The environment is like the soil. And you would know and agree with me that every seed has a specific soil it matures, grows, and thrives in. If, for instance, I take a seed, say a corn seed that is good, nothing wrong with it, has potentials, and then I place that corn seed on a clay soil, what would happen? that corn seed will not germinate. It will die. It won't bear fruit. Now, the problem wasn't with the corn seed. The problem was with the soil. If I take that same corn seed and plant it in a loamy soil, that seed will grow, germinate, and bear forth fruits. So environment matters. So you want to, that's why it is important to actually ask yourself, what kind of seed is my child? What kind of seed is my child? So imagine, for instance, that you have a child who has a seed of being one of the greatest hockey players in the world. But then the operating environment of that child is Nigeria. What's the possibility of that seed growing, developing, and bearing for fruits? Very minute. So you want to identify the seed and then the operating environment, right? And sometimes it's an environment that you also have to create for your child by yourself. To say, okay, this environment does not exist, but because of the seed of this my child, I will create this environment that can help them thrive. So what if we create a fertility festival as African? It has to be a cultural and heritage response, right? This is something, to counteract or superimpose the LGBT movement. Because a lot of what parents do is complain, right? But a lot of what the LGBTQ movement has done is be strategic in how they have deployed their movement. So what if we say, okay, we are going to create a festival, a fertility festival, as Africans, where we will celebrate, fertility between heterosexual relationships. Now that can be an agenda that can create an environment, that where all that children can also thrive in. And then the next one is your internal capacity. So let's say you say you want your child to be, let me take an example in the chat box. You want your child to be confident, a confident teenager. You want to ask yourself, do I have the capacity to help this child to become a confident teenager? Because when you identify your outcomes, sometimes the changes also need to start with you as a parent. Because even you as a parent, because one of the things with parenting is that as a parent, you're also a coach, you're also a mentor. And sometimes you may not have the necessary skills to actually deploy the potential, the full potential of your child. And you need to tell yourself the bitter truth and say, you know what, I don't have what it takes. And then go grab it and learn it. Because you take internal capacity to actually bet certain outcomes. If, for instance, you are somebody who's struggling with integrity, and you want to bet, or you want to train a child or a teen that has integrity, how possible is that? Because you have to model this behavior first for them to see. So it means that you also need to now grow and develop that internal capacity of being an integrous person to be able to train an integrous team as well. So you need internal capacity. Ask yourself, do I have the internal capacity to bet this type of child that I want right now? This type of team that I want right now. The operating environment and the internal capacity is what will ultimately lead to the outcome that you desire. So let's talk about a few things now. Number one is digital literacy, the digital literacy strategy. So parenting must provide guidance on setting healthy boundaries, fostering digital literacy, and creating a balanced approach to technology use in the family. Yes. So there must be digital literacy. You must become aware of the digital space. Very, very, very important. Now, you don't have to know everything. Just know the basics. Know the most important things. Start with being curious. Start with asking, because your teenagers know a lot. Start with asking them, so come and teach me about this app. Come and teach me about the social media platform. What is it about? Let them educate you. Don't go with, you know what? I want to tell you people, you must stop going to Facebook. You must stop doing this. Or go with curiosity. Try to learn from them first of all. Let them teach you. Because in understanding your teenagers, you need to stand under them. Because understanding is from two words, under and standing. So for you to understand your teenagers, you have to stand under them. You have to stoop to conquer. You have to become their student before you become their teacher. So you need to first of all approach it with a sense of curiosity and allow them to teach you, right? Because they know a lot about the digital space. And there's a lot going in there that you are not even aware of. You just see them using Snapchat. And you say, oh, a lot is going on Snapchat, for instance. They are meeting new people, they're meeting new people on Snapchat. And these people are strangers. They have different values. They have different beliefs, that can counteract the things that you have taught them at home. So you need to become aware and then begin to set healthy boundaries around those things, right? Yes. And in fact, for some of us, we give our teenagers phones too early. For some of us, we allow them to begin to get on social media too early, right? Too early. Because sometimes they can't handle the complexities that come with all of these things. Can't handle the complexities. So you need to set boundaries. Remember that their prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of planning, decision making and all of that, is still developing. So you need to set boundaries. Yes, you need to. Yeah. There are tools online, for instance, that helps you with setting those boundaries that you can access. If you go online right now and type, tools that can help me with setting boundaries on devices of my children and things like that, you see a lot of tools that can help you set those boundaries. So you need to lay hold on those tools and then get to use them, because you owe that to your children, especially in this age and time where the digital space is a major one, right? So digital literacy is very key. Then number 2 there is customized teen coaching strategies. Every child somebody's interested in, most of us taught our parents the many functionality of their electronics, especially exactly. Yeah. So every child and family is unique, and one size fits all parenting advice often falls short. So it can't be one size fits all. There needs to be customized coaching strategies for each family, because every family is unique in themselves, right? So parents must become teen coaches and offer personalized guidance tailored to the specific needs, values, and dynamics of each teen. Very, very key. So, for instance, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people say is treat children, you need to treat your children the same way. That's one of the biggest lie I've heard about parenting. You can't treat your children the same way, because they're not the same people. They have different personalities. They have different different creeps and different desires. They have different love maps. They have different. There are a lot of things different about them. So you can't treat them the same way. You can only treat them the same way on the level of equity, justice, right? But in dispelling even the justice and the equity, you treat them differently. For instance, the general principle is every child must eat. But the type of food each child eats must differ from person to person based on what they like. It can't be because I like this food, every child must eat it. No. So there must be customized teen coaching strategies for every family. That is why, as a parent, see, you must learn what teen coaches know about personality, about love maps, about the teen brain, about all of those things. because you are now a coach, especially in the teenage years, because you need to move from parenting to coaching at some point in your parenting journey. And that cannot happen if you have not actually mastered the skills. Okay, so I was just going through the chat box there a bit to see the comments of people. The number 3, please, we'll take questions at the end of the session. So let me round off. Number 3, strengthening cultural or relationships, relationship ties against legislation. The greatest response to the ultra onslaught has to be a cultural response. For instance, we have a cultural heritage as Africans of collectivism. That is something that we can take advantage of. Collectivism, because it's not everything about our culture that is bad. And it's not everything about our culture that is good too. So that is why we must embrace certain parts of that is good. Dislodge certain parts of ours that is not good. But at the same time, we must also keep certain parts of our culture that is good. One part of our culture that is very, very good is the culture of collectivism. The culture of it takes a village to raise a child. That culture is very good. Yes. There was a particular group of people that came into the United States of America. I'm trying to remember the name now. It just skipped my mind. They came into the United States of America, and then they just realized that they lived in a particular community. They just realized that the major health issue that killed a lot of the men between 50 and 60 years old wasn't affecting these guys, which was heart issues. Actually, was a prevalent issue at the time amongst people, men living in that community, and even in the whole of America. They just realized that it wasn't affecting these people. They were sort of immune to this particular health issue. They went in, did research, checked, okay, what they were eating. They were not eating healthier. They were eating the same kinds of food the broader population was eating. They were not exercising more. They were not doing anything, all that is different from the other people, other Americans who were living in their community. The only thing that was different between them and the wider population of Americans living in that place was that they lived in communities. So everybody knew everybody. Everybody played together. They had functional relationships. And that alone was a precursor for how healthy their men were, especially in relation to the heart diseases. So we must embrace our culture, relationship ties against legislations. Because let me tell you, rules without relationship will lead to rebellion, as somebody rightly said. Rules without relationship will lead to rebellion. So there must be relationship attached to the rules and the legislations we are given as parents. And that is very, very important. The number 4, empowering parents with confidence and personal wellness. So the abundance of parenting information available can be overwhelming, leading to confusion and even a bit of doubt. So you want to assess your needs. What are the things that you need right now? What are the things that you need right now as a parent and for your teenagers. Set achievable goals. You can start from somewhere, right? What are the things let's say, for instance, you have issue with communication with your children, with your teenagers. That's the way you have issue, communication. List it out, write it down, put it somewhere. I want to improve communication with my teenager or my teenagers or my children or whatever. Then set goals to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and that to improve this communication. And I'm going to do this once every week. I'm going to do this twice every month. I'm going to do this once a day to improve communication. So assess your needs, then set achievable goals, and then plan simple activities that you can do together. And then implement and adjust. So as you implement, you begin to adjust. Say, okay, oh, this way, what we used did not work. For instance, open day is something that helps communication a lot. What is open day? Open day is a day in a family where everybody shares their view about what they like and don't like in the family. Maybe about what mom is doing or what dad is doing. Everybody shares. And during open day, there are two rules. Number one is that nobody's permitted to get angry. So if a child is talking, even as a parent, you're not permitted to get angry. You just listen and take their feedback, right? And then number two is that if what they are saying is significant enough, everybody or the person involved must make necessary adjustments. Now, if that is something you begin to implement, it will improve communication. So you can set that as a goal and then begin to plan activities, that kind of activity, for instance, with your children, and then see how that works out. If once a month you feel, oh, it's not effective enough, can we do it twice a month? Can we begin to do it 3 times a month? So it is very important that you do that. So assess your needs, set achievable goals, plan simple activities, and implement and adjust. It takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, collectivism. That is why, I understand the reason why a lot of parents became skeptical about not allowing other people to raise their children, because not everybody believes what you believe. Not everybody has the kind of value that you have. That is why we need communities of people who believe the same things. We need community of people who have the same values. And that is what we even want to be able to create out of this webinar today. To see, okay, can we create a family? Can we create a community where I know that the things I'm teaching my children, Sandra is also teaching our children the same things. Busola is also teaching our children the same things. Dele is also teaching his children the same things. Shola is also teaching his teenagers the same things. We are all teaching the same things. That way, we can actually begin to raise our children as a village, because we know we are like-minded, we have like values, and we have like beliefs. So, do you have a strategic team framework, or you are using native intelligence or an obsolete model? Because I asked you last time, or we gave an illustration, about the person who taught your parents, your parents, who taught your parents, your parents. Realize that all of that, if that's what you are using to train your team, is native intelligence, is trial and error. They're just doing whatever it is that will work. It must move from native intelligence to actually a strategic framework, to a scientific framework that you know that if I do this, and that, most likely my children or my teenagers will turn out well. Because even Solomon just said, train up a child in the way that he should go, not in the way that you want him to go, in the way that he should go. Because parenting is actually shooting a child who is an arrow towards a predetermined destination. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So when a child departs from what it is you said you have trained, maybe you did not train him. Because what a lot of people call training is not training. In fact, a lot of parents do everything apart from training. They beat, they punish, they talk, they shout. But many parents don't train. Because if they depart from whatever it is you say you have trained them on, maybe you did not train them. Yeah. Because parenting is an 18-year curriculum. From age 19, you start seeing your report card. So it is important that you have a strategic framework that works every time. So I want us to imagine. If you can, close your eyes right now, because I want you to see this with your mind's eye. I want you to see this with your mind's eye. So imagine your teens your teens amazing strides into the future of transformational leadership. So imagine that 10, 15, 20 years from now, your teen is giving a speech in UN. Your teen is talking in TED Talk, telling people about how their leadership have transformed other people. Imagine it. See it in your mind's eye right now. Take a minute to imagine that. Yeah, soak it in. Imagine your teens marry, your teens get married to his or her beloved. Imagine that 30 years from now, your teens, with you, in their home, they're sharing with you about, how the things you taught them about marriage is working out for them, and how their own children right now are doing well. And just imagine that right now. Imagine you in your attire, beaming with smiles, because you have done an incredible job of parenting your teens. Now, it doesn't matter if you are doing a bad job right now. It doesn't matter how badly you think your things have turned out. It can change for the better. Imagine. So if you're somebody, for instance, who have not had a good track record of training and parenting your children or your teen, imagine that there's a U-turn and all of a sudden these teens are doing quite well right now, and you are patting yourself on the back and saying, wow, you did a good job, Miracle. You did a good job. Imagine you raising your kids who have kept your values and now raising their own children. So see it, your kids, they have kept your family values. Everything you uphold as a value, as a family, they are keeping it, and they are what? Transferring to the next generation of their own children. Now imagine how you would feel if all this can become your reality. What can stand in the way of achieving this? What can stand in the way of achieving this? So I want you to answer these 3 questions. Number 1, how would you feel if this become your reality? Tell me how you would feel in the chat box. How would you feel if this become your reality? Tell me how you would feel in the chat box as we begin to round off. How would you feel if this becomes your reality? Tell me in the chat box. I want to see that. How would you feel? Proud, accomplished, awesome. I will feel fulfilled, beautiful, fulfilled. That's the desire of every parent at the end of the day. Now tell me, answer the next question now. What can stand in the way of you achieving this? What can stand in the way? Tell me in the chat box what you think can stand in the way. Okay, people are still saying happy, fulfilled. Now answer the next question. What do you think can stand in the way? Somebody say eternally grateful, satisfied. What do you think can stand in the way? Somebody said nothing. Beautiful. I love that. Okay, but what do you think? Objectively, not taking action to train them well. I love that. Myself, beautiful, because you can be the greatest enemy of achieving, these things that you want for your teenagers. Bad parenting can stand in the way. Me, I love that. Being casual about their training, not having enough time for them. Myself, yes. These things, lack of commitment, these things can stand in the way. And how would you deal with every obstacle? How would you deal with every obstacle? Emotion, lack of commitment, beautiful. How then would you deal with every obstacle? Tell me how you would deal with every obstacle. One word, a phrase, a clause. How would you deal with every obstacle? Be intentional. Self-reflection. I love that. Be intentional. Learn and act. Determination. When both parents are not on the same page. Purpose with determination. I have to be intentional. I have to be determined. Yeah. Determination is good. but intentionality must match your determination, right? Passion is good, but skills must match your passion. Imagine I'm very passionate now, and I go and tell you, I've never been to a pilot school before. And as you are boarding the plane, I tell you, you know what? I've never been to a pilot school before. This is my first time ever flying a plane. But I just want you to believe in me because I'm very passionate. I've been passionate about flying a plane. Would you enter? You will not, right? So passion must match skill, must match education, must match intentionality, must match training, must match strategy. Very, very important. So let me introduce you to something that can actually elevate your parenting skills and take it to the next level. This is a teens mastery class. It's an intensive program for parents who are overwhelmed by their teens. You want to do better. You want to be that parent who is intentional, who is ready, who is passionate, who is determined. This is a skill that would match that passion and that determination, because you can no longer use native intelligence. It's a 4 weeks class, right? And it starts on the 5th of June, exactly a month from today. The fee is normally a 150K, but because you attended this webinar today, you are getting it for a 130K. You are getting it for a 130K. So join us for a 4-week teen parenting strategy course. It will change your parenting forever. Remember what I said earlier about the outcome you want. What exactly are you willing to do to get that outcome? Because for a lot of people, they're just interested in having that outcome. They're not committed. This is an opportunity to show how committed you are truly in transforming and parenting your kids in the best way possible. Yes. So I believe this is very cheap, right? I believe this is very cheap. Why do I say so? It is very cheap because, you know, when people say, for instance, this course is expensive, I tell them, compared to what? So for instance, if you're looking at this and say, this is expensive, compared to what exactly? Is it compared to your teenagers not turning out well? Is it compared to your teenagers dealing with addiction? Is it compared to your teenagers dealing with mental health issues? You realize that let me tell you, if they tell me that 150K is what I would need to actually make my teenagers turn out to be the best that they can be, I would pay it over and over again. Parenting is no longer native intelligence. It's now about skilled and strategic deployment. So this discount, which is a 130K, that's 20,000 naira discount, it would actually last for 48 hours. 48 hours, right? So you need to do this. So the dollar equivalent is $187, and that's for the full course. The discount, dollar equivalent is 162, but this is within the next 48 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And like somebody rightly said, the lifetime of opportunity must be seized. The opportunity of a lifetime, rather, must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity. So you must seize this opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of this opportunity. So if you're going to be registering for this course, I want you to say yes in the chat box. Let's know the next villagers that we are raising, the next community of people who will do it right, who are going to say, you know what, I'm going to take the bull by the horn and I'm going to do this right. So let me know the people who are going to be registering. Tell me yes in the chat box. Right. Thank you so much, Marcel, for saying yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see you type yes in the chat box. Yes, B, thank you very much. So the link is right there, in the chat box. So admin, just keep pasting that so that comments don't overshadow it. so that so if you want to register, the account number is there, the phone number is there, every information that you need is there. Please, now just imagine if you got this in 2 hours, imagine what you will get in 4 weeks. Just imagine it. If you got this in 2 hours, imagine what you get in 4 weeks. There's a lot we can talk about. Somebody say more discounts. Do you, admin, is there a room for installments, payment, payment in batches? Yes, so if I don't know if that is possible.
Yes,
okay.
yes, you can pay in installments, 2 installments before the class begins. So you make your first installments within the 48 hours so that the discount still applies to you. But you have till June 5th to make the complete payment. Will the recording be available? Yes, we'll make the recording available to everyone who registered to attend tomorrow. Can we also administer those 23 questions to our teens to rate us from their own lens? Miracle, you remember some of us, we score ourselves, we rate ourselves high, and then when we are asking the people who are actually concerned, like our partners, our children, our teenagers, what they think, if they actually think the same thing that we think, we see that sometimes it's a different ball game entirely. So this person is asking, can my teenager answer these questions that I have answered from their own point of view?
Now, you know what? We have, Omotola, that we have questionnaires that teenagers answer. We have a lot of questionnaires actually that teenagers answer about how well you're parenting them. And these are some of the things you gain access to when you register for this course, right? So yes, you can do this. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm just saying that there are specific questionnaires for teenagers to rate you, about how well you're doing in terms of parenting them, that you get access to most likely in the main session, right? So it's a more reason why you have to register for this course.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Miracle. That's been an amazing session. And thank you, everyone who's joined. It's been 2 hours of learning. So I want you to just clap for yourself, pat yourself on the back. You've done very well, just sitting through 2 hours of teaching, gleaning, learning. Oh my God, look at that person said paid. Yes, that's what I want to see. Paid, 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 paid.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yes, you've got to
as we would say, as the hot in our local parlance, as hot, no time or no time to waste time. If you waste time, if you snooze, you lose.
Yes, yes, yes. You have to put your money where your mouth is. I like that. Like the question Miracle asked towards the end, what can stand in the way of the future that you see for your child, for your teenager, and where they are now? And the true answer to it is that lack of knowledge really is one of the things that can stand in between us and the desired future that we have for our teenagers. So for your journey as a parent. I know some people will say, oh, I've raised plenty children. This one is different. Or, oh, I grew up and I had plenty siblings and I was their mother or their father. But this one, I don't understand. That's why you need to come to class to learn. So thank you, Miracle. Thank you, everybody. If you have questions after now, you can just send a message to the admin. The number is on the screen and it's going to answer all your questions. So just send the questions to have when next will this course come up again. Please send a message to admin and it will let you know when next we'll have the next course after June. Do I see another question? Thank you for the training. Thank you for coming. Okay, I guess it's a good time to call it a night now. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I hope to see you in class. When it wasn't PF at first, I was skeptical, but I'm glad I stayed true. And that's the thing with systems. That's the thing with building organizations. It's not just one person who embodies the knowledge. So when we're saying build a structure in your home, build a system in your home, it means even when you they will be able to enforce and uphold the standard that you have already created. But when you've not upheld or created any standard and you're just free flowing, no standard, there is nothing to be upheld, you know. So that's a good one. Let me see if I have any more chats before I leave. Thank you. Time frame for the training. The trainings would usually hold 7 to 9 p.m. on a weekday. Again, send a message to the number in the chat to confirm all your questions. You can call or send a WhatsApp message to ask all these questions and you would get answers to them. So thank you, everyone. I hope to see you in class.